Hello there friends and welcome for today's Expedition 33 guide. We have all of the best ways of farming everything that matters in the game. Starting with of course experience points, so your characters can achieve even higher than 1 billion worth of experience per battle, which is of course enough to instantly level you to level 99, even as early as Act 2 before you ever defeat bosses like Siren or Visage. Cause that's how easy and fast it can be, for up to even 50 levels gained right at once in just a single battle. Followed by the best ways of getting the highest Lumina points to equip all of your powerful passives, even higher than 1000 in just a single battle. And lastly, all the best ways of farming weapon upgrade materials for all tiers, act by act, as to help you no matter the point you are at in the game. So let's get started into our best farming and grinding guide. First, let's cover experience points, starting with the best way of getting to level 99 the fastest. And this will work as early as Act 2 right after you recruit Monoko. And the key to this all is very simple. You'll wanna farm the Dun Souls enemies from the Frozen Heart area. The Dun Souls enemy is unique in that if she is the only enemy left in battle, she'll constantly keep on spawning clones of herself, again and again. And as far as the current patch, you can and will get full experience for every single one of these clones you defeat. And considering how fast you can kill her clones, well, grinding to level 99 becomes a complete breeze, to the point you can easily get there even in Act 2, in just a single battle, which should take around 10 to 20 minutes. Of course, if you do this in Act 3, it's even faster and easier, because by then every one of your party members can just one-shot the Dun Souls clones to make it super fast. But now I'll provide you how to do that in Act 2 still, so with the proper setup. First we have Verso. Verso is a must-have, since he will be your main damage dealer for the whole farming. This Verso is level 99 now in Act 2, but he started at level 49 only and has essentially the same pictos and gear as if I was just level 49. Starting with his weapon of choice. Dualiso of course is essential, because it is his main extra turn weapon. Whenever you attack the enemy normally, you'll get an extra turn. What this means is, Verso will not only deal great damage to the Dun Souls clones, but he can essentially kill 2 of them for every turn he has. Full turn anyways. Ideally, I recommend you go with a level 20 Dualiso. And well, in this very same guide I'll also show you how to farm the necessary materials so you can get Dualiso to level 20 fast. And by the way, Dualiso is not that necessary, especially if you are already in Act 3 when you have better options like Tireso, or access to the cheater passive, because of course that will always grant you extra turns anyways. But for Act 2 it is the easiest, earliest way you have of doing this. The equipped pictos don't matter, it's just here for extra speed essentially. And as far as the equipped Lumina, so you can farm just fine, honestly it's mostly damage boosting passives, and all of the stuff you see here is already covered in my main Verso machine gun build anyways, that you can check to the side here, or in my channel. You could get even more damage passives than this if you defeat Siren and Visage as bosses first, but it's not necessary. Also, don't forget that energy 1 and 2, so that this way, whenever your characters kill a clone, chances are they'll be back at full AP. Anyways, Verso will be our main damage dealer, but CL is also super important to provide us with the support we need. CL doesn't really need a powerful weapon, we just have a level 11 Chatillon here, because her point is not to deal damage, rather to support Verso so he can deal even more damage. Which is why it's very important you teach her the intervention skill, as whenever she uses this on Verso, he'll get a full turn, which becomes, well, dual turns because of his Dualiso weapon, for even faster damage and farming. And as far as Lumina, as you can see, it's barely anything compared to all the stuff Verso has. It's mostly just energy passives. The third party member can kinda be whoever you want, but I prefer to go with Monoko. Lumina-wise, he also doesn't have much, just some minor damage passives. But the thing is, with a level 20 Ballaro weapon, Monoko can provide a lot of extra AP for CL most importantly. And of course, I've already covered how to use this weapon and Monoko in my main Monoko build. Monoko does have another advantage, however, when it comes to his Boucher Fortify skill, as that can constantly grant your party shields. Shields help because if the Danseuse ever damages you, it will highly nerf the experience you get from battle, so you don't want to take any damage whatsoever. That's what the shields are for. Even if you get hit, you won't take any damage. Which is why I also don't recommend anyone equip the Shield Affinity passive, as that will instantly destroy all of your shields if you ever get hit. Thankfully, it's very easy to avoid getting hit. I mean, the original Danseuse will get turns every now and then, because of course you don't want to kill her until you get enough experience. But she only has 2 different attacks. One is a 3-hit combo which is super easy to dodge, and the last one, a gradient attack which you can gradient counter. Just be careful, because if you're doing this in Act 3, when you can break the damage cap, if you gradient counter her, chances are you might one-shot her, and you don't want that. So just take the hit. Thankfully, all of your party members at this point can already have the In Medias Res talent, which provides you with 3 shields on battle start. This way, even if you fully take the gradient hit as to not counter her, well, it will only absorb 1 shield and not actually deal damage, which is fine. The only thing you don't want is taking actual damage. The Danseuse can burn you sometimes with her gradient attack, so there's also something to be said about equipping the Cleansing Tint passive on one character as to remove burn, because burn can, well, destroy your shields fast. Now, what about the best ways of farming Lumina? Well, the best source is also in the 2nd chapter. And once again, we'll be farming Danseuse enemies, but this time, the special, unique, chromatic Danseuse enemy in the Old Lumiere area, close to the entrance. She's basically at the right of the starting resting point. And the logic and the strategy is exactly the same. This Danseuse enemy will start spawning clones, except unlike the normal Danseuses from Frozen Hearts, she always spawns 2 clones at once, and every one of these clones will always drop 5 colors of Lumina, so essentially for each clone you'll have 5 Lumina points. Since you can defeat twice per spawning, that's 10 Lumina whenever she spawns her clones, and even up to 20 Lumina per character if you get extra turns. This does have one downside, however, and it's the fact it is a unique boss battle. So of course, if you've already defeated her, well, you can't do it again. So I highly recommend you be well prepared before attempting this. I'll soon enough cover another way of farming Lumina, but anyways, since this does require a bigger setup, don't bother doing it until you are either in Act 3 or level 99, which of course is very easy to achieve by, just farming the normal Danseuses as I've just covered. The thing with the chromatic Danseuse is her clones have first much higher HP than the normal Danseuses, so you do need to be, let's say, stronger to properly farm it at maximum efficiency, especially since you only get 1 shot at doing so. Second, this Danseuse also has much harder to dodge and parry attacks. Her normal attack cycle is like a 6 to 7 hit combo, which is way faster than the normal Danseuse enemies. So chances are you will end up getting hit, which is why I prefer to leave it for when you are powerful enough. But the entire battle strategy is exactly the same. You get her to spawn clones, you kill the clones, you can do it twice for every full turn if you have extra turns, including with Verso, and that's it, you just repeat. CL can provide Verso with more turns for the same, and with your remaining party member, you'll just support the party or destroy the clones if you are in Act 3 once you can break the damage cap. Now, what if you've already defeated this chromatic Danseuse and didn't farm her? Well, the best Second best anyways, source of Lumina point farming is in Act 3, at the Renoise Draft area. This area is close to the Siren and Visage maps. This area does have tough enemies, but they are rather easy if you're following my builds, and chances are you'll already be at level 99 by this point anyways, because like I said, you can still farm the normal Dark Souls enemies in Act 3 for level 99 fast. Anyways, all enemies here have a high chance of dropping Lumina consumables. Most importantly, the Creation enemies, which are the big enemies here. They drop it at super high rates, even feels like 100% chance. And they all respawn upon resting, so well, you'll just go to the second save point of the map, rest there, start farming all the enemies, defeat them all once, go back to the save point, rest, and repeat. It won't give you 1000+ Lumina points for one battle, but it's still pretty fast, since it's something you can just, well, grind and farm as much as you want, unlike the unique one-time only chromatic Dark Souls enemy. Now what about the best way of farming experience in Act 1 still? Well, you won't be getting to level 99, but you can easily reach around level 30 decently fast. The first grinding spot comes after the second dungeon, and is close to the Jastro area. You'll be farming these 3 enemies in this very specific world map encounter. The enemies are very easy to defeat and they drop loads of experience upon battle end. Usually enough to level you, let's say, once every 2 battles. And they are the best way of farming until around level 15. You can even do it up to level 20. As always, you can just kill the enemies, go to your camp, rest, and they'll be back, fully respawned, and just repeat. For level 20 to level 30, however, the best and ultimate grinding spot in Act 1 comes from the Yellow Harvest area. It's an optional area, and essentially, at the second save spot, you'll be fighting a lot of the Jar enemies. These enemies, they can be kinda tanky for Act 1 still, but with a good enough party if you follow my builds, especially if you have Mael with her Medallon weapon, they become very easy to defeat. After all, if you are min-maxing your speed by increasing agility and have the first strike Pictos, you will always get dual turns for every ally before any of the single enemies gets their first turn, which makes destroying them with a powerful alpha strike super easy even early. This can be done very fast until around level 25, which is enough to easily destroy anything left in Act 1. Now that we know the best experience and Lumina farming spots, let's finally cover the best ways of farming weapon upgrade materials. First, with the polished Chroma catalysts, which upgrades your weapons from level 1 to level 9. And honestly, the best way of farming these is through the Yellow Harvest area I just mentioned for experience, since the enemies there, they do drop this as rare drops, and as you'll be farming them for experience anyways, you'll end up with enough polished Chroma catalysts as to upgrade your weapons. Now what about the most important ones the earliest, the Resplendent Chroma catalysts, which upgrade weapons until level 19. The fastest way in Act 2 still anyways, comes from Visage, from the Joy Veil Grace, resting point. All you have to do is, well, go to this little path here, to the right, and defeat the big contortionist enemy. It does have a lot of hit points, but it's pretty easy to defeat at this point, especially with Dualiso. And well, he always drops 1 Resplendent Chroma Catalyst per battle. After that, it's all quite simple, you just go back to the save point, rest, and that's it. He will have respawned. So you just defeat him again and again and again until you have what you want. Now what about the Grandiose Chroma Catalysts, which are required to upgrade weapons up to level 32? Well, There's two ways of doing it. The first one, and the earliest, is in Act 2 still. From the Iced Heart Expedition flag, you'll want to defeat the big stalactite enemy right ahead. The big blue guy here. He will always drop one Grandiose Catalyst per battle. The enemies here are of course tough, so only do this when you have a decent enough weapon and levels. Thankfully I've already provided you how to do that in this guide. But yes, you'll just keep farming and respawning the stalactite enemy as you get more Grandiose Catalysts. And as far as the best way of doing it in Act 3, for the maximum Grandiose Catalyst farming, well, it's all about farming Golgra from duels. When your character is built well enough, you can of course easily one-shot her, and very fast as well. She'll always drop 3 Grandiose Catalysts. And you can do it as many times as you want. Now what about the ultimate weapon upgrade material, the perfect Chroma Catalyst? Sadly you only have a limited amount of it for every starter run. But there's plenty since you only need one for every weapon. The easiest one is found right here in Lumiere in Act 3, but it's missable. If you speak with the trash can guy in the prologue, and then in Lumiere again at the end of the game, you will find a perfect Chroma Catalyst there in the trash can. The most common source in Act 3, however, comes from the Flying Manor, which is right here in the world map. Every one of the mini-bosses there will drop one perfect catalyst. They don't respawn, however, but it's still plenty and enough for a full main party of, let's say, 3 characters.
Hang on tight.
Besides that, the Flying Serpent enemy that flies in Act 3 can also give you one.
Hang on tight. Flashing through the sky.
Then you have the Chromatic Création enemy in the Renoir's Draft area. It's unique, but will drop 1. Well, in the same area you can also defeat the Simon Superboss, which drops dual perfect catalysts. There are some other sources as well, but these are the main, most important ones. Well, alright friends, so this was it for our Ultimate Expedition 33 Grinding and Farming Guide. If you found it useful as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.